Welcome to the Hobby Jogger Podcast, where elite athletes and ham and eggers lace up their stories. We explore the common ground that running creates, from the world-class runner to the hobbyist hitting the pavement, trail, or treadmill. Expect a blend of inspiration, laughter, and the shared joy that makes every step count. Join us on this journey where every run is a story worth sharing. Next up on episode 5, we have Andrew Glaze. He is one of my personal favorites to follow on Instagram, where you can find him at @amglaze. You can also find him on TikTok, where he occasionally gets trolled by trolls on Glaze Runs. He goes with the moniker, "Smile or you're doing it wrong," which I've thought to myself a few times late in races, and has benefited me quite a bit. So really happy to have Andrew on the show. Andrew, welcome to the Hobby Jogger.
Thanks for having me.
So first question, or I guess statement, you have ran 200 straight weeks of 100 miles, and you just finished up a 200-mile week, correct?
Yeah. To celebrate my 200th week in a row, I ran 207 miles.
It's a lot of miles.
Yeah, it's a fair amount.
Yeah, I have been following the streak since I met you, and I'll tell that story real quick. I was in Chamonix, France to watch the UTMB, which Andrew participated in, to see my buddy's brother run, and guys just walking down the street in Chamonix to the start line in jorts, which awesome. Guy who wears jorts, that's my spirit animal right there. So just go up, it's like, "Hey man, need a picture with you. Got a picture with him, me and my buddy, and started talking to him, started following him on Strava and Instagram, and here's this guy's got this run streak that goes forever. How did you start that?
I think it started like right when kind of COVID started and they like canceled all the races. And so I sort of just needed something to challenge myself and do something difficult. And so that's kind of like the origin. And then there's a lot of virtual races and stuff going on during COVID. So it just kind of made sense because I was doing all these virtual races. And so my mileage was like pretty high and it just kind of stuck. And now here I am, like almost coming up on 4 years and it's still going on. So I didn't think it would go this long.
Now, was it something kind of like with the Undertaker WrestleMania streak where they just kind of realized that like 10 years in that he hadn't lost a WrestleMania match and that's how it became a thing? Or was it like, "Oh, I did 2, let me get 3, let me get 4"? Was it more organic?
I've been a high mileage runner for a while. And I think in 2018 or 19, I think 2018, I did 28 weeks of 100-mile weeks in a row. I mean, I really love to run. So and I like the number. I like the 100-mile because it's pretty challenging to run 100 miles in a week. It started sort of organically because I was just trying to get my mileage up and then there's no races. So when you don't have any races, you can just like really run as much as you want because you never have to taper for a race and you never have to like recover after a race. All you have to do is run. So, I mean, it was really easy during COVID because I wasn't running any hundreds. There wasn't anything to do except just run. Now it's a lot more challenging because I'm incorporating a bunch of races into my schedule. And then how do you get a 100-mile week when you got to run a race? And if it's a really hard race, like how do you run 100 miles after recovering from like a 200-mile race or, 100-mile race or something like that? That becomes challenging. But yeah, it's been pretty organic. Now it's just like sort of a lifestyle thing. I don't know. It's not really the same as it was in the beginning, but it's still very hard.
So 100, 200 is the next challenge, 300?
You mean like 300 when I hit 300 weeks?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe. I mean, that's 2 years from now. So, I mean, I hope it's not so good in 2 years. Hopefully the streak will done. But is it possible? Yeah. I ran 357 miles or 356 this year is my highest week. I know I can do 300 miles in a week if I really wanted to.
And I did look. I couldn't find anyone who has a better time course record for you in the Coco Canyons Challenge.
Right, right. Well, since I designed it and I'm the only one that's ever done it, yeah, I have the course record. And then fortunately this year it doesn't line up the same way as it did last year, so it won't work out. Yeah, that was a pretty big week.
For those that are listening that are more in tune with the road running world, Andrew ran, and correct me on the order of this, the Cocodona 250 first.
So I ran a 100 miler in Sacramento called Canyons by UTMB. And then as soon as it was finished, I got on a plane, flew to Arizona, and then ran Cocodona 250 miler the next day. I had like a day off in between, but I had to get ready for the race. And I did both of them solo and unsupported. So there was a lot of planning and drop bags and things I had to accomplish. I think I ran like 6 days in between and not one day off. It was a week and it ended up being like 356 miles. Although I think Cocodona, my Garmin said like 260 miles. So I'm not, it might be more like 366.
We'll give you 366. We'll give you
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of miles. And I think 57,000 feet of vert in a week. It was not flat.
No, it's definitely, I know the canyons for sure is not flat. And that was a super hot year for
Yeah,
that,
it was
correct?
a
That was
freak heat storm. I think it was like 98 degrees or something like that. It was like 60% didn't finish because it was just like this crazy heat spell. It was great for me because Cocodona is traditionally very hot, especially in the beginning. So I went into it feeling pretty good because it was hot, but it wasn't as hot as canyons. And so I was like heat acclimated. Yeah, it worked out well for me. And I'm from Southern California, so heat, although I'm not like a huge fan, I know how to do it because it was a UTMB race. A lot of people were coming in from like international areas. Like I ran into a bunch of people that were like from France and Italy and stuff like that. And so, they show up to a California race and it's 100 degrees. They had a hard time.
I'm entered into the Black Canyon 60K. I was on the wait list with 100K, didn't get in, but I did take something from you with, I haven't done the cold plunge yet. Just not there. It's 8 degrees here.
Right.
So, forgive me for that. But the sauna, I've started using the sauna at the gym. Ours gets cranked up pretty good, 180 degrees. Do you think that helps you acclimate to these hotter races that you do?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I did a lot of sauna work before Canyons and Cocodona. I thought Canyons was going to be cold. I don't know if you've heard the story, but I was basically like checking the weather for Auburn and it kept saying it was going to rain and it was going to be cold. And so I was like preparing for this like cold, wet race. And I had been checking Auburn, Alabama's weather, which, I live in California and I typed in Auburn and I don't know why Google thought, yeah, that I wanted Auburn, Georgia or, something. I mean, it's just the craziest, or Alabama. So the last minute I was talking to my buddy who was also doing the race and he's like, man, it's going to be hot. And I was like, what are you talking about? And yeah, then I figured out that I had been checking the wrong weather report the whole time. So yeah, I think sauna work does help out. Not only does it teach your body how to like respond to like heat, it makes you sweat more efficiently and like you won't panic quite as much like when it gets really, really hot. You'll know what it feels like and you know what your body can handle. And I mean, I just love sauna. It makes you feel so good. Makes you sleep well. I just got out of the sauna and I got my sauna glow going on.
And there is something to be said that I feel like incredible when I get out of the sauna. You're almost
Yeah.
euphoric
Yeah.
feeling once you hop out of that thing. Like it is, I don't know if it'll help me just mentally. I don't know if it helps physically. I don't know. I'm kind of eager to see what it does for me in the
Well,
desert.
especially, I mean, if you're not used to like dry, hot heat, it definitely gives you dry, hot heat. A lot of people don't have access to that. So, yeah, it's definitely a good thing.
Well, if you had to pick one, sauna or ice bath, which one would you pick?
I mean, I would pick sauna because it's easier, but like as far as benefits go, I like the cold water. You get like a pretty amazing dopamine rush coming out of that, and that's pretty hard to beat. But I hate doing it every day. So every day it's like a negotiation in my head. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then I start thinking of like, well, you don't have to do it. You can, and I start rationalizing. And then I'm like, no, you have to do it. You have to.
Hey, folks, if you're loving the stories, tips, and laughs we're dishing out, make sure you don't miss an episode. Hit that subscribe button so you're the first to know when a new episode drops. And hey, if you've got a second, why not leave us a review? Your feedback helps us improve and keeps this running community growing. Lace up, hit subscribe, and let's get back into the show.
And what's your record? Like 10 minutes, something crazy like that, 15?
So I used to do like 7 minutes a day before I got the sauna. And then there's been like some like studies and whatnot on like sauna and cold plunge together. So now I do like a protocol where I do sauna, cold plunge, sauna, cold plunge, sauna, cold plunge. And I do 2 to 3 minutes in the cold plunge, but I do multiple rounds. So I end up still getting like around 7 minutes, but it's not all together. And then it's mixed with the sauna work, which I wasn't doing previous because I didn't have a sauna. It gets pretty intense when you stay in there too long, but it also gets really intense when you go from the hot to the cold. Your veins are like constricting and then they're dilating and then constricting and dilating. So it's like a whole different stress on the body.
Last week or week or two, I was in the sauna with a guy. He had some Eastern European accent. He sounded very intelligent on the subject, and he was telling me, "Oh, you got to get in the cold shower after when we get out here. You got to get in the cold shower." I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm kind of rookie. Maybe next time I'll try that. I can't. I don't think I can put it in there yet, but it's on my list of things to do. It is.
It's one of those things that's like really terrible when you're in it because your body goes into shock. Our human nature is like if your body's going in shock, it's to like get out of that situation. But you have to like mentally work through that, which teaches a lot of mental strength and whatnot. But like it also, when you get out of a shocky situation, your body just rushes with dopamine, which is like the happy molecule. And you feel like giddy and euphoric afterwards. And it's just like this very bizarre, like sensation. It's almost like getting high in a weird way, because your body's getting rushed with all this dopamine.
That's a good point. And that's one of the reasons mostly that I try and get out and run every single day is the feeling of after the run. There's been days where I've had to drag myself to the trailhead. I don't want to do this. It's like, but I know I'm going to feel really good when I'm done. And that's, for me, that's the biggest part of running and doing all this is just the feeling you get after, 10, 12-mile run. One, the sense of accomplishment that you did something, you didn't just sit around. Just that feeling, like you said, of like kind of the dopamine hit. It's a good one and it's natural. So that's for me why I run. Seems like you might be in that same boat. You like the natural, natural high kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it always sucks in the beginning. Like even me, I'm like still like the first mile is always hard. It's definitely, I know that I'm going to feel great afterwards. Even if it's like a shitty run where you feel shitty the whole run, still afterwards, you're going to feel good. It's like one of those things where good or bad, afterwards is going to be good.
The first mile is always the hardest.
Yeah. I mean, I hate the first mile. I hate it. And I'm always sore, because I run so much that like my first mile, it'd probably be beneficial if I just walked it because I'm like literally just so sore all the time. But then once my body warms up, it's like, okay, we can do this again.
Having a good time and out there for as long as you need to be and always be smiling, right?
You got to think like how many people can't run, how many people are injured, how many people are, have diseases or like just in bad spots in their life. And like if we can go out and run, we should be pretty appreciative of that because we're pretty lucky. The world is a unfair and terrible place at times. And if we can be enjoying some miles, like no matter how terrible they are or how bad we feel, we're very lucky to be able to do it.
Absolutely. It is certainly a blessing to be healthy enough, able enough, just like you said, just have the ability, whether it's even financially where you can, get an hour in to run every day. That's so much that, I think there's a lot of people that truly don't understand how blessed you are when you can do something like that every day. And we are very fortunate for that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty inspiring, which kind of leads me to my next point. Congratulations on the Ultra Sign Up Award.
Yeah. Yeah. I had some stiff competition, so it was cool to walk away with the win.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't win best dressed with the jorts and the assorted shorts, but most inspiring is a heck of an achievement.
I would have gone for best. I think there was best trail weirdo too. I mean, I would have taken that as well, but I guess most inspirational is pretty amazing.
That's awesome. You're not an influencer, but like you influence me, like with especially with the stuff you just said, to be fortunate, to be grateful, to smile. That's the biggest thing. I was hit a super dark spot at the Grindstone 100K. And I was like, man, Andrew Glaze would be smiling right now and just knocking down these miles. So like, do you feel any pressure? Kind of like I don't want to say like following. It is a following. Like, does that add any kind of pressure to you?
I don't feel any pressure because my presence on social media is just me. There's no like persona or like I'm not selling anything. So it's just, so I have good days, I have bad days, and I just kind of tell the world about the good and the bad and what's going on in my life. And if you follow me, you're just kind of like, you're just following my life. Like I'm not offering any advice. I'm not coaching. I'm not telling you how to stretch or what shoes to buy or what goo I eat. I literally it's just me. And so there's no pressure because it's just me recording my day-to-day life. And if you find that interesting and engaging and inspirational, then like cool. And if you think it's cringy and weird, then don't follow. And that's cool too. So there's no real pressure to do anything other than just be myself, which is pretty easy to do because I'm myself every day.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you're not because that's I've talked to some people who have gotten some followings. It's like, oh, I feel like I have to do this, but you don't. You just go out and you just do your thing and knock down the miles, the dinner miles. I'm a part of
Yeah.
your Strava group there, the dinner miles, and I do get invested. It's kind of like the Truman Show, like, and it's crazy. Like you got sick a week, and me and my buddy Will and Jeremy, we have a group. We were texting each other, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, do you see? Like he's not feeling good, and he's got to get to 100. What do you think, man? Like, I what's good? How does this end? Like, so it's like it is the Truman Show,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Which I mean is in the sincerest as a compliment. Like, it's not but I did. I got myself invested in your 100-mile run streak just by you being a genuine good person, down to earth, just smiling, out there doing it. So thank you for providing me with entertainment, I guess.
I mean, it is a little entertaining, I'm sure. Like, yeah, someday it'll end and my life will go on and I'll still be making content about something, I'm still going to be running. And I did crazy things like this back when I had 700 followers, and I'll do crazy stuff like this when I have 1 million followers. It's just is what it is. And if the followers go away, if social media goes away, then I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be out here doing things like this because it's what I enjoy. And we just have the technology now where it's like a lot easier to document. Yeah. I mean, I tried to make stuff back in the day. I've always loved photography and like shooting videos and stuff. So I used to love Instagram because it was all about taking pictures. And I would like spend a lot of time like taking a really good running picture, and then like have a caption and all that. But the video aspect of it has been really fun too because I used to write race reports and like detail all the stuff, and now I can do my race reports in video. And I think in 20 years, when I look back and I can watch my races, it'll be pretty cool to like watch my old videos when I maybe can't run anymore and I can remember those races and whatnot. And I mean, if I read one of my old race reports, sure, I'll remember things and like, oh, that sounds crazy. But seeing it in video is different. So
Do you feel motivated just by your presence online and people that follow you when you have those hard days, you wake up in the morning, you don't want to go out?
yeah, I mean, I get inspired by a lot of my followers and I get motivated by their messages. Like a lot of people send me very like heartfelt messages about how I helped them or, how they ran their first race because of me. That's a huge amount of positivity in the world. And I really enjoy that. If I'm trying to sell anything in life, it's just that like running and exercise and movement is good. And I'm just trying to like push that out into the world. And when it gets pushed back to me that it worked, it's extremely motivating. the idea of the butterfly effect, that, a butterfly flaps its wings and something happens in China or something. Maybe I motivate someone and then they go motivate somebody and then that person motivates somebody and that fourth person has never even heard of me, but they're somehow motivated through a chain of, events that started with me. I find like really awesome. The world is not such a great place a lot of times. And if I can push a little positivity into it before I leave it, then I feel like I'm doing something worthwhile. That makes sense.
It does. It does. It's almost like a virtual run club or running
Yeah.
buddy, because when there's somebody there that you're going to run with, and, they're depending on you to show up and help motivate them, and you motivate each other to, finish those last couple miles. Yeah, I think a lot of the people that inspire us today virtually online, that's kind of what they represent, right?
Yeah. And, there's people that, I like watching videos online too. And there's people that I watch that are like motivational, and it's cool to see them out there grinding every day and doing hard things. And it's a big circle. We all motivate each other. Just because I have more followers than somebody else doesn't make me like the best. I just happen to have more followers, but there's a lot of people out there doing really cool stuff right now.
There is. I think the running content has definitely vastly changed over the last couple of years, especially since I've started getting involved in the ultra running, and it's just a completely different, I'd say, seismic shift from 2 years ago to today with the ultra running content. I know one video of yours that it was from the UTMB this past year. You're at mile 80, and I know how hard the race is, and I'm like, this guy's got to be dead. Like, he's got it, but you still look the same at mile 80. I know you didn't feel the same, right? How do you keep that like game face? Because I can't. Like, I have pictures of me from Grindstone. I'm dead. Like, you can see I'm done. I have nothing left in my soul, and it is over for me. Lights are going out, but here you are, just how do you keep the face like that?
You're seeing me at like an aid station, and I think aid stations for me always tend to be like a higher point than like a lower point. Like when I come into an aid station, that's my opportunity to like refresh my calories and get, at UTMB, I get to see my wife, which is always going to be like a positive. And then like, if it's like a different race where it's just an aid station, like you got all those people there and they're all volunteering their time, and, it's probably cold and dark. You come in, it's like, I want to like thank them and smile and like, show them that I'm appreciative of their hard work too. Like, yeah, I'm out grinding in the dark, but, they're out keeping us all alive with food and water. So there might be low points in the middle of the race where no one's around that, maybe I'm not so cheerful, but, when I'm around people, that's my opportunity to like spread that positivity and touch more people and inspire more people. Even if I'm feeling terrible inside, like I still try to mentally be happy and positive in those times.
Did you get into UTMB?
Yeah, well, this year, 2024, I had 2 years of automatic entry, so last year and this year, so I didn't even have to enter the lottery.
Oh, okay. I did not get in.
Really? They already had the drawing?
Yeah, today. Yeah. Yep. Didn't even get waitlisted. Bummer.
Really?
Next year.
That's, that's interesting.
Yeah. I do want to go back because it is, I get it. It's like now a controversial thing in our trail running here, but it's such a cool event. The people that put it on are great. All the people that volunteer for that race, I want to go do it just because of the event that it is. It's kind of, I tell people I want to go see the Daytona 500. I don't know a single NASCAR driver. I don't know a car. I don't know a sponsor, but it's such a cool thing. I kind of just want to go to it. And that's kind of what I like in UTMB. It's such a spectacle, to me. And it was just, we talked about inspiring, but just seeing, being at like Trient aid station and seeing the misery of these people coming through, and, men and women just still, hey, pick it up, get out of the aid station and go. And it really is a cool event. And
yeah,
I wish I would have got in, did not, but.
Well, I didn't know. This is my 5th year and I haven't gotten in every year too. So just so you know, like I've been rejected a few times as well. Yeah, there is a controversy, and I mean I understand it. Like I definitely was like on the side of the small race when it went down, and the whole idea of corporations ruining ultra running is definitely a hot topic. I guess in my humble opinion is just like you're going to have big corporations and then you're going to have small races, and to think that some corporation is going to destroy ultra running is then you must believe ultra running is pretty fragile. You know, the Rock and Roll Marathon series didn't destroy marathons, and big corporate races like Revel and that didn't destroy marathons, and there's still local marathons all over the place. And despite there being a big corporate entity that's buying up a couple races here or there, there's still tons and tons of local grassroots ultras that you can do and that are not for sale. So I don't think you have to be too concerned. Plus, I mean, ultra running is growing and it's getting harder and harder to get into races. By having these big corporate races, at least it gives more people the opportunity to run. Whereas like the little grassroots races are like great, but like they only let 200 people in and there's a lottery and a wait list and all this stuff. So there's some definite gatekeeping when it comes to the small races. It's hard to get into them.
Yeah, it's very difficult. A lot of small races, Western States, prime example. That's the hardest race to get into in the world.
Hard Rock's harder to get into, and probably Barkley is harder to get in.
Well, yeah, Barkley for sure. Barkley, yeah, you gotta send a postcard, and yeah.
Yeah,
Have you tried
Barkley and Hard Rock are pretty hard to get into.
I'm sure people have asked this many times. Have you tried to get into Barkley?
No, not yet. I don't know if I will. I'm not a real good hiker.
Your compass skills aren't that good.
No, my compass skills are good. So in fire service, I have like a lot of certs that deal with compass orienteering, because we have to like have that for certain like wildland certs, and I feel pretty confident in my orienteering. I mean, I obviously refresh before I went, but for me, it's more just like I'm not a good hiker, like a fast hiker. I can hike forever. I'm not a fast walker. Some people are like really good at like moving while they hike and walk, and like that's not my skill set. I can jog slowly forever, but if you if you ask me to walk, it's going to be slow. And I think you need to be able to hike fairly quickly in order to complete Barkley or even a couple loops.
I appreciate what that race is and the lore behind it, but it just, like for me, it's just not. I don't know. It seems more like a game. I'll be wandering around the woods trying to find a book, and I totally respect everything that it is. Like it's not, I don't want anyone to think I'm downplaying its significance, and very cool. I tune into it, so it must have
Sure. Yeah.
some special meaning to it. So I do give it.
Well, it's kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's own category.
Yeah.
Can't really compare it to anything else.
It's a game. It's an ultra running game kind of thing, I think.
It's definitely entertaining to watch, but yeah, I don't think it's my thing. But you never know, right? I'd much rather get into Hard Rock. If there's one race that somebody said, Andy, I'll get you into whatever race you want, it would be Hard Rock. Someday, hopefully that will happen.
What is the lottery system? I'm unfamiliar with that lottery system. It's a race that I watch. I enjoy it.
I don't know what it is. It's super. It's small. I don't know if it's like 100 people, and it's like they take 50 that have run it before and 50 that haven't, and then it's a very small race. What you can do for Hard Rock, which I might do this year or next, is you can do this thing called Soft Rock, where you basically go out and run it yourself. And you set it up in a sense like it's 3 days, 2 nights. And so you do like 30 miles and you go from like city to city and you get like an Airbnb. And then you wake up and you do 30 miles and city to city. And you go to bed and Airbnb, and then you do 40 miles or whatever and finish it. I know a lot of people have done that. I might end up just having to do that just so I could have the experience without, all the aid stations and everything. But
I think that would be pretty because I actually considered today, well, I have before, is doing that at UTMB, going out from refuge to refuge and seeing it that
A
way.
lot of people do that, and when you're running the race, you see a lot of people doing it.
Because you don't get to see, again, this is for our road running audience that Weebuse has a lot of. The race starts at 6 o'clock at night and you run through the night, the first night, and I guess second night too, if you still need to, but you don't see a lot of the course from like not Les Houches, that the first city to like Cormier about, right? You don't see much of that.
Yeah, it gets dark pretty quick.
Saint Gervais to
I can't, I've done it 4 times and I can't even get the cities correct. But yeah, the sun rises like when you're like in the valley and you're starting to descend down into Italy. And then the sun sets normally like when you get into Switzerland. I mean, depending on how fast you do it, but something like that. So yeah, the end of the race, you don't really see much. And then the beginning of the race, you don't see anything, but like you see the middle. Yeah, it would be a cool thing to see the whole course during the day.
yeah, all the cool sites that you missed. When we were talking about Barkley, you mentioned that you're fire and rescue.
Yes, yeah, I'm a fire captain. Yeah.
Oh, fire captain. I played rugby with a couple fire guys here in Akron. Great guys. Always have a good time with them. Have you got anyone into the Laverne Fire Department? So
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Do you have a running club there yet? Have you formed one? Do the guys go out with you and run? Because I see you got a couple guys that look interested.
Yeah, no, I have like a fake one that ever since I've been there, I call it the Laverne Fire Running Club, but it's just me running and like laps around the fire station. And yeah, I mean, most people in my department have joined it at least one day out of the year and have run with me. There's a couple that, will come back and they run every time their work with me, but it's more or less just like inside joke that it's like the Laverne Fire Running Club, but it's just whoever wants to run with me.
See, there you are again with the infectious smile, just infecting everyone with the running bug. I appreciate that.
So does your schedule at the firehouse help your running or does it hurt your running? Because there's a lot of flexibility, right?
I mean, yeah, it's nice to be able to run at work. Obviously, most people don't have that opportunity, but most people don't work like 2 to 4 days straight with not going home. So it's monotonous loops around a fire station, holding a 2-pound radio and having to like not be able to like disengage because I have to like be response ready at all times. So I wouldn't say it's like the best mileage, but it's still mileage and it's still an opportunity to work out. I think the hardest part about being a firefighter and being a runner is not sleeping or not sleeping well for several days in a row is pretty hard on the body. And it's definitely hard on like recovery and mental health and things like that. So it's nice to be able to run at work, but there's a lot of costs associated with it in the long run that I think are probably not as nice.
Is there a gym at the firehouse?
I mean, we have a kind of a shitty gym at all the stations, and then the union pays for us to all have a gym membership so we can go to like the local gym in our city. And obviously there's like treadmills and everything there, but I don't run on a treadmill. It's not something I do. I mean, I have done it, but not in the last decade or so.
I love that statement though. It's not that I don't like treadmills. I don't run on a treadmill. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's just not my thing. And I live in California, so I can get away with it.
It's not my thing either, but man, when it's 8 degrees out, I can't do it. I actually, this is a couple weeks ago. We had another cold spell, however cold it was. I actually got dressed, went down to the trailhead, was about to get out of the car. Nope, I can't get out. I'm warm. I'm just going to go home, get on the treadmill for an hour and watch Star Wars or something.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely, I get a lot of DMs every day, and I've definitely been getting a lot, icicles on their eyelashes and, the whole thing. Like my followers love to remind me how lucky I am and where they live is like, terrible. There's some people that are in like Canada right now and it's like -40 and they're putting like heating pads in their shoes and like all this crazy stuff. And I'm out here running shirtless.
It's not the cold. Like I can handle the cold. It's the as soon as you sweat and get wet, that misery sets in. That's the killer. So yeah, I gotta supposed to do a long run this weekend. Well, I can't do a long on a treadmill. I'll go mall walk before I do that, I think.
Right. Yeah. I don't sweat when it's cold. It's kind of like a weird thing. Like, but maybe if I was wearing a bunch of layers, I would, but normally I only sweat when it's really hot.
Yeah, I'm a sweaty guy. I'm sweating.
Yeah. I work with guys that literally walk up a flight of stairs and like their shirt soaked. So I get it. I mean, everybody has different, bodies and mine's one that doesn't sweat very much.
Now I see you have quite the schedule here this summer for races. I don't think I've seen one. I know I haven't. I'm not going to say don't think, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have at least 6 races of 100 miles or more.
Is that what you're looking at on Ultra Sign Up?
I'm just going off Ultra Sign Up. I'm including UTMB because you mentioned.
Yeah, it's way worse than that though. I mean, I haven't signed up. I mean, not everything is on Ultra Sign Up, but I have quite a bit of races. And then there's some races I just haven't signed up for quite yet, but when they become available, I will sign up for them. I mean, last year I did 15 ultras. I think I did 1100s and 200s. I have a feeling this year will be probably similar.
It looks scary. Looks like about one a month you average. So that's good. Are you going to plan on coming East Coast anytime soon?
I don't have any East Coast ones planned right now. Yeah, it's just a lot of the races I just do every year because it's like convenient because they're like close to my home. I spend all my PTO and then I even spend more like every time I work in overtime, I can bank it as like another PTO day and I spend all that too. So when I look to like travel places, it's just in my mind, I'm just thinking like how many days I'm going to have to like save up in order to race something far away. And in firefighting, like if I take a shift off, I have to take 48 hours off. So it's like if you think like a normal person who works a 40-hour week, if you took a week off, you would burn like 40 hours of vacation. So it's like harder for me to like take time off if that makes sense. So I try to like do races that are like somewhat closer to me and easier to get to. Although this year I am branching out a little bit, doing some races in Colorado and Montana.
I see the Run Rabbit Run. That looks like a pretty cool experience, the Run Rabbit Run. I had a couple friends that went out there and did it and spoke nothing but good things about the race. The Jackpot Ultra is one. I don't know why I tune into that every year, or I have. Maybe because it's the time of year it is, but it's just kind of around a pond in Henderson, Nevada, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Right? Yeah, I remember. I don't know. Someone told me to look. We had a local guy maybe running in it or something. I was like, man, these people are insane, just running around this pond for 16 hours. Is that the hardest one for you, do you think? Because of the monotony?
That's super easy. Yeah, I mean that's my fastest time is a Jackpot, my fastest 100. Yeah, the hard ones are like the big mountain ones. Last year I did Bighorn in Wyoming and I signed up for it again this year. It was like 100 miles of like the thickest mud you've ever experienced in your life with 20,000 feet of vert. So you're either going uphill in mud or you're sliding down on your butt in mud. And that was pretty hard for me. I mean, UTMB is really hard with 30. I think this year, normally it's 33,000 feet of vert. And I think this year it was like 35,000 feet of vert because they added those bonus miles because of the landslide.
Oh yeah, there was some controversy with that.
Was there?
Yeah, people didn't think that the winner got the record because
they ran 4 extra miles.
because the course was changed, and so that just
Every time I run that race 4 times, and every time I've run it, the course has been different. So,
I mean, we have the Burning River 100 here, which if you want to talk about thick mud and bad mud, if it rains here in Ohio, it's awful. But that course changes every year, and
yeah, I mean, exactly. If you're so lucky to have a race that has stayed the same forever, then it's probably a boring race, because it's like it's too stable. Even Jackpot, like there used to be this little section that you had to run through the dirt, and then they built a bridge, and now you don't have to run through the dirt. The course has changed. You just adapt. I mean, who cares? San Diego, I'm running San Diego 100 this year, and I'm excited because it's a whole new course. They added like this whole new section. To me, that's like exciting, because you still get to run in this beautiful area, but you get to run new trails. I'm doing Coldwater Saturday, and it'll be my 5th time running it, and it's like a whole new course. It used to be 5 20-mile loops, and now I think it's like 2 12-mile loops and 3 24-mile loops or something. I don't know. The math probably isn't right there, but something like that, which is cool. Like I'm going to get to experience new trails in this mountain park in Arizona that I haven't run it before. So I always look at it as a positive, like seeing new stuff.
And that's the best part of trail racing is the course does change every year because nature controls the course.
Right.
Yeah. There's a mudslide, nature did it, and that's just, hey, you got to run around it, do something else. But that's kind of why I like it. And like I said, I am the hobby jogger. I have no concern over my time. I'm out there for a good time. I got the party pace hat on. I just, I want to have fun. So people I think there is starting to be some people take it serious, and I just can't get that serious about trivial stuff like a course changing because of an avalanche or a rock slide. Like,
yeah, I mean, for me, it's just about having fun. I mean, people take it very seriously, and people take it very unseriously. And I think I'm more of the unserious type, but like, doesn't mean I can't push myself at times. But when you're running 15 ultras in a year, if you think that you're going to have some great time on like ultra number 10, your body's going to tell you something differently. So,
yeah, don't taper like Andrew tapers, please.
Yeah. My 200-mile taper week before Coldwater this weekend, or like my 100-mile race taper the day before, Cocodona 250. Cocodona was a complete shit show for me. I was completely out of my mind most of the race, and like, just so fatigued and exhausted, but I finished it, and that was the goal. So, was my time like stellar? Like, no, it was terrible. I never cared. Like, I had so much fun the whole time. So I was like, whatever. I did something like super hard that most people can't do. And like, yeah, a lot of people beat me, and that's like, that's fine. I don't, it's like, it really doesn't matter, And then I made a video about it, and like, got 5 million views, and like, cool, and nobody was like, wait, you got 80th place, or, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
No, you get to suffer in beautiful places.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's fun about it.
100%. Yeah.
That was I have to say in ultra running, the wildest thing I think I've seen someone. I know we have a lot of like the Pacific Crest Trail and through stuff, but to see, because it was the weather of the canyons, the heat, just hopping in the car, going to Arizona, and then knocking out 260 or whatever through the desert. I was rooting for you. I was
good.
Yeah, I was following along. Like every time you're little, because you wore trackers for that one, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was tuned into the tracker. I was having a good time with it. I was like, this mad lad is out here after already doing something that most people I think dropped out of the race because of the heat. He hops in his car and.
Well, it's funny because Air Vipa, they have all like the live streaming, and they have a very like robust YouTube presence, and there's all these pros and really impressive runners in Cocodona and whatnot. And like the whole time, everyone's like, what's Andy Glaze doing? It's like, Andy Glaze is in like 80th place, probably sleeping on the trail right now. Like, wishing he was dead. And like, that's all anybody would like talk about. And it was, I just find it funny. Same as like jackpot. It was like national championships. I think I got 10th place or something like that. And there's like really impressive people. Like I think somebody ran jackpot in like 13 hours or, the winner got like 13-hour 100 or, he was right around 13, 14 hours, something like that, which is like incredible. And he's an incredible runner. And the whole time everyone's like, what's Andy Glaze doing? It's like Andy Glaze is in 10th place, just cruising. Like, don't worry about him, Liz. But, I guess the social media presence changes that a little bit.
Hey, you have fans. You have legitimate. I'm an Andy Glaze fan, so anyone hates on him hates on me. So they can kick rocks if anyone really cares that much about it. But I do, man. I have a blast anytime I get to watch, follow along with it, and because it's like, hey, there's my spirit animal out there, like party face, happy, loving life, just getting after it, and I truly do thank you for just what you do especially with the trolls. I like that, swatting the trolls away.
Oh yeah, I love attacking trolls. Everyone's like, oh, you should just ignore them. David Goggins is like, oh, I make a mixtape. I'm like, fuck no, I'm gonna talk shit right back to them. I don't know who they think they are. Like, I'm not like some little, like I will come right at you if you come at me. I enjoy it. I really do. Maybe I should ignore them, but like they're not really upsetting me. I think it's like hilarious, and like I love to like just make them look dumb. So
Yeah. I draw entertainment off of that. So I thank you for the way that you handle that. Because I think if more people did handle it that way, that it would be a better result with less trolls in the world. But I guess trolls is going to troll. So
yeah, I think most people aren't used to getting like they're not used to getting punched in the face if they like, oh, I'm gonna write this shitty comment and then like they get punched in the face and they're like, oh wait, that's not how that was supposed to play out. They were supposed to like be upset by my comment. I was supposed to ruin their day. Yeah, no one's gonna ruin my day, especially not on the internet.
no, heck no, some anonymous person sitting behind a
Yeah.
keyboard warrior. I do have one question about the Jackpot Ultra. It says the 100-mile short course. Is there a long course?
Yeah, so there's two courses. Friday is the national championship, and it is I want to say it's like 1.12-mile loop, and it's like a perfect loop around the lake. So you have to do like whatever it is, 96 loops or something like that. And then on Saturday they have a long course which kind of forms like a giant C. So you kind of like go out and then you kind of loop back and come back, but it's a little bit different. And I think that one's right around 2 miles. So you end up doing about 50 loops. I've done both of them. I kind of like the short course better because I like the Friday race. It's like easier for me to take like a Friday off than a weekend off. So I think there's a little bit more vert in the Friday race than there is the Saturday race. And then the Saturday race also is like that loop, the kind of the weird C loop is what they use for like the 48-hour race, the 24-hour race, the 12-hour race, the 50-miler, whatever, they have a million different like distances. That's all on Saturday. They used to have a 72-hour race, but I think they've got rid of that when Aravaipa bought that race.
That's a long race. That's a lot of suffering.
Yeah, I've done 172 and it was a lot. It was a 2-mile loop and yeah, that was my first 200 miler. It was hard.
That's a bridge I may never go down. I appreciate the people who do, but that's a little too much suffering. And but I do like the Friday races, especially the West Coast ones.
Yeah.
Because I can watch it work. So
yeah, I mean it's it works out. It's cool. So like but I signed up for the short race. I didn't sign up for the championship, but I might switch it. Last year, because it's run by USATF, which is the United States track and field or whatever, they wouldn't let us use headphones, which was terrible. I guess this year they're going to let us use headphones as long as we're not going to be in the top 3. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be in the top 3. And so I'm going to probably wear headphones and just,
If you're in 4th and 3rd drops out, do you have to take him off?
I don't know. It's such a dumb rule. I mean, honestly, it's just, I'm not exactly sure why they do it. Something about getting coaches' notes through your headphones or something like that. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's like literally a 1 mile loop. So I don't really get it.
Yeah, that's trying too hard with rules, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same organization that, for like the world championships, they make their athletes pay for everything. Meanwhile, Nike sponsors it and they're a billion-dollar corporation. But if you're just some like my buddy Jake's a, UPS driver, Jake Jackson, and he just went to the national championships in Taiwan and had to like pay his own way. Well, meanwhile, you have to wear all this Nike gear and like Nike sponsors it, but like,
Oh, they make you a Nike?
yeah, well, or like you have to wear something. There's some dress code or something like that. If you're on the United States team, so I'm not super impressed with the USATF.
The only one who gets to tell me what to wear is my job, and they pay me, so I have to.
Exactly, same. Otherwise, I'm afford to wear what I want.
Well, Andrew, it's been about an hour here, and I certainly appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy, getting dinner miles in, feeding those legs.
Luckily, I'm tapering this week, so I was able to like squeeze this in because I only ran 10 miles today. So
Yeah, I've seen your tapers. Your tapers are scary. So, but I wish you well in the cold water rumble. I'll be tuned in, watching your progress as you go through, as always, because like I said, you are my favorite follow of runners. I mean, met you once, super nice guy. You made a great impression. Not often I meet someone and just be like, wow, I think that guy was, that was really a genuine dude. So, it's stuck with me, for this long. It was finally nice to, have a forum to get to talk to you and learn a little bit more about you. So I appreciate it.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, very good to meet you. I'm inspired. I mean, it's 11:30 at night, my time, and 6 degrees out, but I think I'm going to go for a run.
Do it. Tag me.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Hobby Jogger. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support keeps us moving forward. Until next time, keep those feet moving and enjoy the mile.